All right, get ready, because today we're going to really dig into something that always gets people fired up, and that's Lionel Messi, and this whole idea of what makes an athlete truly great.
And this article you sent is perfect for this. It doesn't mess around. It goes deep on Messi, using his whole career to look at how we even define greatness in soccer, which is always changing.
I love a good deep dive, especially when we're talking about maybe the most exciting player ever. What really got me was how they break down the Messi magic. And it's so much more than just those amazing goals.
It really does go beyond those highlights, doesn't it? It's like, what's going on in his mind? How does he handle the pressure? And even his physical build plays a part.
Exactly. They break it down into three main things. First, you've got that almost unbelievable soccer IQ. Like, Messi sees the field in a way that seems impossible. He's not just reacting, he's always one step ahead, like he's playing chess at 100 miles an hour.
And what I like is how the article gives you those specific moments, like that assist against Real Madrid where he somehow gets the ball through 3 defenders to a teammate who's just standing there wide open. It's wild.
It's insane. Like, he's got some kind of internal radar, seeing passes nobody else could dream of. And then there's that mental toughness, which I always find so fascinating. He's not the loudest guy out there, but he's got this quiet focus, this calmness under pressure that's incredible to watch.
Totally. And the article really emphasizes this. Like, it's in those clutch moments, those World Cup penalties, those last-minute chances where Messi's just there, not phased. They even say it's not just staying calm, it's its own kind of fire. That ability to block everything out and make perfect decisions when everyone else is freaking out.
Makes you think about different ways to lead, right?
Right.
It's not always about yelling and giving big speeches. Sometimes it's about being the calm in the storm, letting your actions speak for themselves.
Exactly. And then, we got to talk about it, Messi's size. At 5'7", he's not exactly a giant among giants out there. You see him next to some of those guys. And
you wonder how he gets around them like they're not even there.
Seriously. But here's where the article really surprised me. They actually say that Messi's height, which some might see as a weakness, is actually a huge advantage, especially for his balance, agility, and his close control of the ball.
Wait, so being a little shorter actually helps him? That's a new way to look at it.
Think about it. Lower center of gravity. That means quicker turns, changing direction instantly, exploding past defenders. The article used this great phrase, glued to the ground, like he's got this extra gravity that makes him almost impossible to knock off balance. You see it when he weaves through defenders. It's like he's gliding while everyone else is struggling to keep up. Physics, man.
Okay, so maybe we should call it Messi's law of physics then, because that's amazing. Who needs to be built like a truck when you can defy gravity with your feet? It's like that saying, good things come in small packages.
Right. You don't need to overpower everyone when you can outsmart them and outmaneuver them with every move.
So we've talked about how Messi seems to have his own relationship with physics. But where does that put him in the conversation with the all-time greats? Like, when we're talking about the Genet, those comparisons are unavoidable.
And that's where this article gets really interesting. It jumps right into those comparisons, the big names, to make us think about what really matters when we call someone the best.
Give me the lineup then. Who are we putting Messi up against?
Well, they start right at the top with, the name that basically IS Soccer, Pele, 3 World Cups, more goals than anyone can even count. He's a legend for sure. But here's the question the article asks. Could Pele even DO what he did if he was playing today?
Whoa, that's a big one. It's a totally different game now, isn't it? Faster, more physical, the whole strategy's evolved. Can you even compare across different eras like that?
It's almost impossible, right? And the article points out how much faster, tougher, and even more complex soccer has become, even since Maradona, let alone Pele. So, it makes you think, would he still be the king in today's world? Or would his greatness look different?
Yeah, Pele's a tough one to crack. Maybe no easy answer there. But speaking of Maradona, he and Messi, they had kind of similar styles, didn't they? Both Argentinian, both known for those moments of pure magic with the ball.
Totally. But the article almost uses Maradona as this cautionary example. It's about talent versus being consistent. Like, everyone knows Maradona was brilliant, that hand of God goal. Come on. But his career also had its ups and downs on and off the field.
Which is interesting because for all the attention on Messi, he's stayed out of trouble, compared to some. Do you think that matters? Like, that he's been so good for so long, so dedicated?
It's a good point, right? Does a career that's maybe less exciting, but you're always at that top level year after year, mean more than those flashes of brilliance? It's about what we really value when we're talking about greatness.
And, of course, you can't talk about Messi without talking about Ronaldo. Those two are practically forces of nature. It's amazing.
It's the rivalry that defined a whole era of soccer, you're right. And I like how the article puts it, this clash between power and finesse. You've got Ronaldo, built like a superhero, scoring those crazy goals, and then there's Messi dancing around, finding these impossible angles, almost like it's surgery.
Love that. A hammer versus a scalpel. Both get the job done, but in such different ways. Like, do you want to see a huge rock concert or a perfect orchestra? Both amazing, just depends what you're into.
Exactly. And the article makes it clear both Messi and Ronaldo are playing on a whole other level, winning everything, breaking every record. But when you're talking about the best ever, it might just come down to which style really speaks to you, deep down. Which brings us to another point the article makes. What about the next generation? Mbappe, Haaland, those guys.
The young guns coming in hot. They do seem to represent this whole new level of athleticism and power.
Like, they're built in a lab to be the perfect modern soccer players. Crazy fast, strong, and they know where the goal is. The article even says that this seems to be the trend now, and it makes you think, can a player like Messi, who relies on skill and outsmarting everyone, can he still do that in this new world?
So it's not even just about players anymore. It's like, what will soccer even look like in 10 years? Yeah. Does a guy like Messi get even more impressive if the game's moving away from his style? Or are we watching the last of something really special? That's a whole other deep dive right there. It's like we're watching this clash of styles, Like, is soccer going to be all about who's the biggest and strongest? Or can someone like Messi, who's all about skill and vision, can he still dominate?
That's the big question, right? And this article really digs into that, this whole idea of tradition versus like the way the game is changing. You've got academies now building these super athletes. But are we losing something in the process? Like, what about the beauty of the game, the artistry?
Exactly. You can't teach what Messi's got. That instinct, that way of seeing the whole field, it's like he's playing a different game sometimes.
And that's what makes his career so interesting. The article actually says that by being so different, by doing what he does with his style, it's like he's proving everyone wrong. Like, you don't have to be built like a tank to be amazing, to control the game like that.
He's keeping that, like, more elegant, skillful way of playing alive. And at the very top level, it makes you think, what if you never come along? Would people even be asking these questions about how the game's changing?
That's a good point. And it goes back to that intelligence thing. The article even says Messi might be the smartest player ever in terms of soccer IQ. But then it throws in this other idea. Is that enough to be considered the absolute best?
So it's not just about being a genius on the field. There's more to it than that.
Right. And this is where the article really makes you think outside the box. Like, how do you even measure a guy like Messi's impact? Is it just goals? Or is it the way he makes everyone around him better? The way he just seems to understand the game on a whole other level?
Yeah, you can't really put a number on that. But okay, let's say I'm a young player, just starting out, dreaming of being a pro. Who am I looking up to? Am I trying to be like Messi? Or am I all about that Ronaldo Haaland style?
Man, what a question. And I like that the article doesn't try to give you a simple answer. It's almost like it's saying maybe the future's not one or the other. Maybe we'll see players who can do both. Be super athletic, but also have that Messi level soccer IQ.
That would be something else, wouldn't it? The best of both worlds.
Yeah.
But, thinking about all this, we started off asking if Messi's the GOAT, and now I'm wondering, does it even matter?
That's the whole point, right? This wasn't just about Messi's career. It was about how we define greatness in the first place.
Totally. We had to think about our own biases, what we think is important in an athlete, how you even compare players from different times. We went from, is he the best, to what does best even mean?
And that's a way more interesting conversation to be having, for sure. And the article ends on this note. Just by making us ask these questions, by making us think about all this stuff, Messi's already secured his legacy,
It's like, even if he never kicks another ball, he's changed the way we see the game. He's not just a great player, he's made us think about what it means to be great, period. And that's got to be the most amazing accomplishment of all.